Mike and Bell 556 here, and today we're going to be looking at the Kel-Tec Sub 2000. This gun has been around for many years now, and actually they've just recently come out with a Generation 2. The Generation 2 does have a forend that has some M-lock features on it, and that's going to come into play in our topic for today's video. This is a neat gun in that it's completely foldable for backpacking. It holds a high capacity magazine in the pistol grip. This particular one is a Glock version, but it comes with several different magazine versions. So you can have 15 rounds of 9mm in the pistol grip of a completely foldable, flat, easily packable rifle that when needed can be quickly deployed. Now, one problem with this rifle, in my opinion, are the sights. The sights are very rudimentary, and as you get older, it becomes harder and harder to use sights like this. What I'd like to look at today is what is an economical and effective way of mounting a red dot sight to this. The problem is when you do fold this rifle, the tops of the back and front of the rifle are folding together. So you really can't have a permanently mounted sight on the top of the gun. And several companies have come up with some fairly ingenious designs with swing down mounts so that you can rotate the sight out of the way and then rotate the sight back up when you've unfolded and deployed the rifle. The problem is a lot of those devices are around $100. So I was just trying to come up with an idea where you could avoid having to put that much money into mounting a red dot sight and still have the gun able to fold and stow away. Today's video is a proof of concept video, and what I want to explore is how feasible is it to mount a red dot on the lateral surface of the firearm and then shoot. It's going to be more like a Hollywood style of shooting. If you're right-handed, you'll be holding the gun in this position to acquire your sight picture. Now it's crucial to have the red dot sight lined up with the bore of the rifle. If you're left-handed, then you would be using the gun in this position. Now the question I have is that practical? Are there going to be any problems with that? If you're right-handed, then you're going to be firing the gun and the casings are going to be ejected up. And I have no idea how that's going to work. It might pop back on us or it might be fine. If you're left-handed, then I think actually it's going to be pretty cool because the casings are just going to go straight down to the ground, which is really one of the most ideal ejection patterns. What I've done is taken a very inexpensive barrel clamp style rail and just put it on the barrel. Now, if this proof of concept works, then what I would do is come back with my Generation 1 style of handguard and just mount a small rail that would place the red dot sight over the axis of the bore. In the new Generation 2 rifles, they have M-locks that actually do line up with the lateral axis of the bore. So it would be very simple with a newer gun to go ahead and just mount your rail surface right along the axis of the bore. Now I did check with the company and they said that you can buy the handguards for the Generation 2, but that in fact the Generation 2 handguards are not compatible with the Generation 1 firearm. So I'll be stuck having to permanently mount a rail on this plastic handguard if this proof of concept seems to work well. So for testing purposes, just to see how this is going to work, we'll take a quick release red dot sight and mount it to our barrel clamp rail adapter. Since I'm right-handed, I'm going to start with this rifle with the scope mounted to the right side of the receiver. And then we'll test it out shooting it left-handed as well to see how the ejection pattern differs. So we have an inexpensive quick release mount and barrel clamp with our primary arms red dot sight. Under normal circumstances, I would go ahead and mount the sight further back on the forearm, but we just want to see if this gun is reasonable to shoot from a sideways Hollywood style position. When you fold the gun up, it's still fairly compact. If you wanted and you have a quick release, obviously you can just have this stowed away with the firearm in your backpack, and then if you wanted to deploy and didn't mind the extra time, you can install it that quickly. So to test out our lateral red dot, we're going to have to assume a rather unorthodox shooting position. Very Hollywood. You see these guys all the time shooting their guns from this sideways position. So just forgive me for that, but let's just see. I'm really curious how this is going to feel when we fire the gun like this. Now, I would say that this sight picture is still a little low. I'd probably put another 1/4 of an inch of elevation on this when I permanently mount it, if it does seem to work relatively well. But I can acquire the red dot without too much problems. Also, the gun doesn't kick much, and the shoulder stock doesn't feel bad really in this position. Okay, we'll put it on safe. And the casings I could see kind of going up forward in both left and right position. Didn't really seem to be a major problem. Now let's try this out for left-handed shooters, and we'll just rotate our mount around to the other lateral position of the barrel. Now we've installed our lateral sight for left-handed shooters, so we've changed it to the other side. In this situation, the casing should be ejecting straight out the bottom. Let's just see if it burns our arms or if there are other untoward problems with that. So does this lateral mounting technique for a red dot sight work with the Kel-Tec Sub 2000? I think the answer is yes. That is, if you're willing to adopt a Hollywood style of shooting the firearm. It is doable. It's a little awkward, but I think it would be easy to get used to. And we've shown that it'll work both with left-handed and right-handed shooters. If you have a Generation 2 Sub 2000, then I think the answer is very easy. You've got M-LOK slots right there. Very inexpensive adapter will let you try this technique out and see if it works for you. It's certainly a lot more economical and simpler than the more elaborate and expensive swing away style of mounts. I hope you found the information interesting and useful. If you have any questions or comments, please post those and I'll try to respond to those in a timely fashion. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.